There is a celebration right now throughout the mainstream media. Headline at The Athletic: the NBA All-Star Game was a success. This event was amazing. We are so back. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes. Believe it or not, this is one of those rare cases where the media is actually right. Credit where credit is due. The NBA All-Star Game was incredible. It's amazing how great this league can be when NBA players actually try. No one is asking to match the intensity of the NBA Finals at the All-Star Game. Hell, we're not even asking players to match the intensity of a regular season game in the middle of November. For an event like the All-Star Game, the only thing required is effort. And to their credit, the superstars in the NBA, they put on a show last night. Now, that being said, there wasn't enough water last night to put a dent in the ongoing flaming ass fire known as the National Basketball Association, mainly because Gabby Newsom, the esteemed governor of the People's Republic of California, Gabby failed to provide the NBA with adequate water. He claimed he couldn't find a steady supply of H2O, even though Gabby was standing by a water fountain. One great night in Los Angeles, that does not erase the abundance of problems facing this league. And it damn sure doesn't erase the problems and potential consequences that NBC is facing for reestablishing their relationship with the NBA. When it was announced that NBC was entering into unholy matrimony with the NBA, most people, myself included, were excited about this marriage. If you grew up in the 90s, the NBA on NBC is nostalgic. John Tesh composed the best theme song, I think, in the history of television. Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Marv Albert. NBC was the perfect network for the golden age of the NBA. And their coverage this season of the NBA has definitely been an improvement. Hell, it can't get any worse than the coverage provided by the worldwide leader in woke ESPN. NBC doesn't have fake NBA analysts like Monica McDougal polluting the airways with toxic mouth farts, or confusing Michael Jordan with George Michael. As a fan, I understood NBC's decision to reestablish their relationship with the NBA. But from a business perspective, this deal never made sense. There is a reason TNT was so hesitant to re-sign their deal with the NBA. There is a reason that the president of the network said publicly, "We will survive without the NBA." It's estimated that losing the NBA cost TNT around $600 million a year in advertising revenue. But that $600 million, it is meaningless when you're paying $2 billion for the rights to broadcast this turd. I'm no mathematician, but I'm pretty sure $600 million is significantly less than $2 billion. I don't think I need to explain why that dog won't hunt. One of the reasons the NBA chose NBC is because of Peacock. The NBA has always drawn a younger audience when compared to other sports leagues. Young people don't have cable, mainly because they can't afford it. With NBC having an established streaming platform along with their massive reach on network television, aligning with NBC was a great move for the NBA, but so far, it has been an unmitigated disaster for NBC. Last quarter, in their first 3 months with the league, Peacock lost $500 million. If you remove the expense of the NBA, Peacock would have essentially broke even. But it's not just the financial consequences that NBC is facing with this deal. According to recent reports, the honeymoon is over because their new marriage with the NBA, it could cost NBC their long-standing relationship with the NFL. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Later today on the second channel, going to be talking more about the All-Star game last night and why last night was further proof that it is time for the NBA to move on from LeBron James. It is time for LeBron James to retire. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below. Subscribe to the second channel. Headline at Awful Announcing. NFL executives irritated by NBC's deal with the NBA. Translation, Roger Goodell. Hey, it's me, Roger G! When translated from bad booger to English, this means that Uncle Roger is a jealous lover. Roger Goodell is mad because NBC is paying more money for the NBA than they are paying for the NFL. On the surface, I could understand why this wouldn't make sense to the casual fan. NBC is paying $2.5 billion every year for the NBA. They're paying $2 billion for Sunday Night Football. However, the NBA is providing NBC with significantly more content, while the NFL is giving NBC one game a week. But the details do not matter. The only thing that matters is Roger Goodell and his feelings. This could be a very serious problem for NBC. The NFL has an opt-out clause in their current deal in 2029, and they are going to opt out, which means NBC will have to rebid for the rights to keep Sunday Night Football. Well, Uncle Casey, what's the big deal? Networks negotiate all the time to retain broadcasting rights. They'll give the NFL more money, and this loving marriage will continue in serenity and unity. For starters, NBC is going to be competing with YouTube. They're going to be competing with Netflix, Amazon. I know NBC is a major network, but when you compare them to YouTube, NBC is the size of a flea on an elephant's ass. Alphabet Inc., which sends me nice paychecks every month, it's the parent company which owns YouTube. Alphabet Inc. has a market cap of almost $4 trillion. For them, paying $2 billion, $3 billion, $4 billion for the NFL, that's the equivalent of me and you finding $100 in the couch cushion. It will have absolutely no impact. NBC is committed to the NBA for the next 10 years. That is $25 billion that could have been used for the NFL that's going to the NBA. To make matters worse, NBC's already pissed off the NFL by going into business with the NBA. So the likelihood of Uncle Roger giving them a friendly discount, the likelihood of Roger Goodell considering their long-standing relationship, slim. Unless something drastically changes. 3 years from now, NBC could look back on this deal with the NBA with immense regret. And the thing is, it's not like NBC needed the NBA. This isn't ESPN, who's 100% reliant on the NBA for their survival. NBC's been doing just fine for decades without the NBA. So why would you agree to pay $2.5 billion every year for a league that has been declining for the last 6 years? But KC, NBA ratings are up. Have you seen their recent ratings? Wowzer! This league's doing great! Yeah. Yeah, the NBA is doing great financially. Meanwhile, NBC is counting pesos. They are eating Ethiopian breadcrumbs for lunch. But KC, NBC could bid on the local NFL packages. They could compete with Fox and CBS for the NFL's local broadcast rights. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. YouTube, Amazon, Netflix, they've got no interest in regional coverage of NFL games. I doubt they want to go through the trouble of putting together 4, 5 local broadcast crews so they can broadcast Browns Cardinals to 10% of the country on a Sunday afternoon. But again, the problem for NBC is going to be money. Fox and CBS, they are not handcuffed by a multi-billion-dollar deal with the NBA, a multi-billion-dollar deal that is pretty much guaranteed to be a money loser. And to be honest with you, I think we're reaching a point where sports are becoming too expensive for the networks. Not all sports. I'm specifically talking about the NFL and the NBA. And with streaming services getting into sports broadcasting, I think prices will eventually go up. There's just no way Netflix can charge $10 a month while paying billions of dollars to the NFL. No way Peacock can continue charging $10 a month while paying $2.5 billion to the NBA. But they could offer different packages. They could offer a sports package while offering a standard package for people who don't watch sports. Yeah, they've already tried that before. You know what it was called? Cable. You know why cable and satellite providers bundled ESPN with networks that women wanted to watch? You know why they made it a requirement to pay for ESPN if you wanted access to Bravo, Lifetime, Nickelodeon for the kids, the Disney Channel? You know why they did that? They had to find a way to justify paying exorbitant prices to keep ESPN in their lineup. For decades, sports on TV, they haven't been financially supported by sports fans. Sports have been subsidized by women or dudes who don't watch sports. The problem the networks are now running into, those women and feminine dudes, they are no longer paying for cable. So revenue is going down while sports broadcasting rights are going up, which means you've got a system that is not sustainable. There is a very real possibility that NBC could lose the NFL in 3 years. There is a real possibility that NBC loses its cash cow and they are stuck overpaying for a polished turd. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.